Welcome back, viewers. You're watching WION World is One. This is World DNA, the show that gets you ahead of the rest. I'm Shivan Chandna.
And I'm Him Korsaran. On the show, in the volatile West Asia, far-right Israeli minister led hundreds of Jewish Israelis to the Temple Mount or the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound. With this, Itamar Ben-Gvir has defied a long-standing Israeli government ban on Jewish prayer there. We'll bring you the latest on this on the show today.
Also on World DNA today, following the incursion by Ukrainian forces into Russia's Kursk region, Russian President Vladimir Putin has appointed his former bodyguard and current Secretary of Russia's State Council, Alexei Dumin, in charge of the military operation in the Kursk region. We'll bring you the latest developments on that front. For now, let's start with the headlines.
Amid uncertainty, Antony Blinken cancels West Asia visit. Officials in Tehran make big announcements, say Iran will not attack Israel if it manages to reach a long-sought ceasefire deal in Gaza with Hamas when talks resume later this week.
Israel's National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir draws Israeli and international condemnation over call for Jewish prayers at Jerusalem's Temple Mount.
Vladimir Putin put Secretary of Russia's State Council and his former security guard Alexei Dumin in charge of military operations in Kursk region.
A 32-year-old suspect appears in court charged with attempted murder of a young girl in London's Leicester Square in what prosecutors described as a random attack.
United Auto Workers Union files complaints with the National Labour Relations Board against Donald Trump and Tesla CEO Elon Musk over attempts to threaten and intimidate workers.
Sheikh Hasina issues first statement following the August 5th ouster as Bangladesh Prime Minister, wants rioters to be punished, seeks justice for vandalism to her father's statue.
Massive disclosure by Bangladesh Army Chief General Waqaruzzaman says they've given shelter to some influential people of the ousted Awami League government as their lives are in danger.
Big update in the Kolkata trainee doctor rape and murder case. CBI team comprising medical officers and CFSL experts to leave for Kolkata to begin their probe in the case today.
China's economic growth faces a major hurdle as bank loans to the real estate economy, contracted for the first time in 19 years. The country's leadership now faces pressure to stimulate the economy and prevent a prolonged slowdown.
Big blow for England's men's cricket team. Test captain Ben Stokes will miss rest of the summer after tearing his left hamstring while playing in the 100.
While threat of an Iranian attack on Israel is far from over, there is hope that progress in the Gaza ceasefire deal could delay the promised retaliatory strike. However, uncertainty still looms.
Well, it still looms large over a deal. In the latest, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has postponed his West Asia trip, and U.S. President Joe Biden has said that a Gaza ceasefire deal this week could hold Iran back from direct offensive against Israel. Asked if a truce between Israel and Hamas could stave off an Iranian assault, Biden said that was his expectation, adding that while negotiations were getting hard, he was not giving up.
We'll see what Iran does, and we'll see what happens if there's any attack. But I'm not giving up.
Time together. Do you have the understanding that Iran could cease or stop doing an action if a ceasefire deal was possible?
That's my expectation, but we'll see. Thank you.
Biden's comments came after Iranian officials said that a promised retaliatory strike could be delayed to allow talks to progress.
Hamas is widely expected not to participate in the talks to be held in either Cairo or Doha. It has called on mediators to coax Israel into agreeing to the updated proposal it had submitted in early July. The U.S. State Department said on Tuesday that it was working to ensure that Hamas representatives attend the upcoming talks.
We've seen the reports of what they have said as it relates to their participation. Our partners in Qatar have assured us that they will work to have Hamas represented.
As Israel remains on peak alert for retaliation from Iran, Hamas has said that it fired 2 M90 rockets at Tel Aviv, their first attack since May. The attack did not lead to any injuries or casualties.
Meanwhile, Hezbollah says it has launched a series of strikes against sensitive Israeli military sites targeting their technical and espionage equipment at the Al-Samka, Ramia and Misgav sites. The group also said it carried out a missile attack hitting a group of Israeli troops around an Israeli military site near the settlement of Matar.
And for more on this, our correspondent Susan Teherani has sent us this report. Listen to this.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has postponed his Middle East trip due to uncertainty about the situation in the region. The trip was planned to include stops in Qatar, Egypt, as well as Israel. And according to Axios, the delay comes as the U.S. prepares for potential Iranian attacks and amid ongoing violence between Israel and Hamas. The U.S. has increased its regional military presence and is pushing for a ceasefire deal, which it sees as a key to buying peace before the upcoming U.S. presidential election. However, Israel is concerned about the deal's impact on Hamas's strength. Meanwhile, the U.S. has approved some $20 billion in arms sales to Israel, which Prime Minister Netanyahu had said will quote-unquote help them finish the job faster against Hamas. He made those comments when addressing Congress here in the United States a while back. Susan Teherani reporting from New York for WION World is One.
An Israeli minister is facing criticism for flaming tensions after he called for Jewish people to be permitted to pray at the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound.
Right, also known as the Temple Mount, Israel's National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir led hundreds of Jewish Israelis into the compound, launching a fresh challenge to rules covering one of the most sensitive sites in West Asia. Slamming Ben-Gvir, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office quickly denied there would be any change to the rules that prohibit Jews from praying at the site.
Ben-Gvir's remarks come at an especially sensitive time. With the war in Gaza at risk of escalating into a wider conflict, the Al-Aqsa compound is known as Temple Mount to Jews. It is revered by Jews as a vestige of their two ancient temples under rules dating back decades. Jews are allowed to visit but may not pray there. The spokesperson for Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas denounced Ben-Gvir's visit as a provocation. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken urged Netanyahu to prevent further provocative actions in the future.
Washington further added that it was firmly committed to the status quo arrangements at the Jerusalem holy sites, calling any unilateral action unacceptable.
And let me just say clearly that the United States stands firmly for preservation of the historic status quo with respects to the holy sites of Jerusalem. And any unilateral action, which this would be any unilateral action like this that jeopardizes such a status quo is unacceptable.
אנחנו בתשעה באב, הר הבית, האם נציין כאן את חורבן בית המקדש? עם ישראל, עם ישראל, עם ישראל, עם ישראל.
Shifting focus to the Russia-Ukraine front, as Ukrainian forces continue to advance into Russia's Kursk region, Vladimir Putin has now appointed his aide and former security guard Alexander Dumin to take charge of the military operations in the Kursk region.
Now, the shift in guard comes after Russia's Chief of General Staff Valery Gerasimov gave a briefing over video link to Putin and other heads of the Russian law enforcement agency, wherein he gave a positive report regarding Russia's defensive in the Kursk region, which largely contradicted what was actually happening on the battlefield. It was only after this meeting that Putin decided to replace his army chief Gerasimov's duties in the area. The meeting on Monday was also attended by Dumin, who was the only non-cabinet member not connected with military or security services to attend the meet.
Now, according to reports, Kremlin officials have expressed their frustration with Gerasimov's handling of the war after he seemingly dismissed intelligence warnings that Kiev's forces were in fact preparing to launch an armored assault into Kursk. Alexander Dumin has long been seen as a rising star in Putin's entourage and has now been announced as the curator of the operation to liberate Kursk region. He guarded Putin during his first 2 terms as the president.
Dumin has a reputation of being a problem solver, capable of resolving issues of coordination, combat and civil management. He served as the Deputy Defense Minister of the Russian Federation from 2015 to 2016. The former Putin guard was also appointed as the Deputy Director of the Russian military's main intelligence directorate and led the special forces in the 2014 annexation of Crimea.
In 2016, Putin appointed him as the governor of Tula region, and he is currently an aide to the president of the Russian Federation. Now, Dumin's appointment is being seen as a sign that the Russian security forces, on their own and without interference from Moscow, are unable to solve the coordination problems in the Kursk region.
And amid rising tensions in the South China Sea, China and Indonesia held their first officials meeting of the joint foreign and defense ministerial dialogue in Jakarta.
Launched in 2023, the China-Indonesia Joint Foreign and Defense Ministerial Dialogue is the first 2+2 ministerial dialogue set up between China and another country. The Chinese delegation was led by Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs of China, Sun Weidong, and Deputy Director of the Office for International Military Cooperation of the Central Military Commission, Zhang Boquin. Sun Weidong met with Pahala Mansuri, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Indonesia. And according to Indonesia Ministry of Foreign Affairs, both sides exchanged views on deepening China-Indonesia relations.
They discussed the importance of global South solidarity, navigating through global challenges, and pledged their commitment in invigorating cooperation in strategic sectors like connectivity, green economy, renewable energy, digital technology, education, food security and people-to-people contact. Both countries pledged to scale up efforts in maintaining peace in the region as well as advocate for Palestine.
The 2+2 dialogue comes after the Indonesian president-elect and Great Indonesia Movement Party General Chairman Prabowo Subianto visited Beijing in April. According to reports, his visit was crucial for the development of bilateral relations for Indonesia and China for the next 5 years, but also gave a sense of stability in the whole ASEAN region.
Meanwhile, China is also seeking to explore defense ties with Indonesia. In recent months, representatives from China State Shipbuilding Corporation have been traveling to Jakarta to offer Indonesia's defense ministry S-2060 diesel-electric submarines and guided missile destroyers at a discounted price. Indonesia, which already has extensive defense partnerships with the West, is yet to accept the offer, claiming that China's submarine offer was at the proposal stage. Let's shift our focus to the United States now. With the US presidential polls in the next 3 months, Democrats are targeting to win support of overseas voters from the swing state for party's presidential face, Kamala Harris.
Well, the Democratic National Committee will spend $300,000 in a first ever push to register the 9 million Americans living abroad. The funding for Democrats abroad, which represents Democrats living outside the United States, will be used to pay for voter registration drives and spread information about how to vote from overseas territories. The efforts will be focused on Mexico and Europe, where the largest number of overseas Americans live. There are over 1.6 million Americans from the battleground states of Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania and Wisconsin living overseas. The swing states are crucial, be it for Harris or Republican former President Donald Trump to win the election. When Biden beat Trump to win the 2020 presidency, he did so by a margin of 44,000 votes across Arizona, Georgia and Wisconsin.
The DNC has issued a statement, I'm quoting here, only 8% of the Americans living outside the country had registered to vote in the 2020 election. This election will be won on the margins, and with only 3 months until the election, every vote matters, including the votes of those who are serving or living abroad.
Harris and her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, toured multiple political battleground states just last week. Remember, Harris has pulled ahead of Trump by 4 percentage points each in separate polls of voters in Wisconsin, Michigan and Pennsylvania, and these were conducted by the New York Times and Siena College.
Now, this is a big change from polls in those swing states taken before Biden quit the presidential race last month.
You know, as of this month,
let's shift focus to Bangladesh now, with Bangladesh under a new interim government headed by Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus. Following the recent political turmoil, 2 influential members of the ousted Sheikh Hasina government have been arrested.
Police arrested the advisor to former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, Salman Rahman, and former Law Minister Anisul Haq as they attempted to flee from Bangladesh's capital Dhaka on Tuesday. The arrests come in connection with 2 murders that took place during the violent quota reform protests last month.
In the midst of this, Bangladesh's army has given shelter to key members of the ousted Awami League government, owing to the impending threats on their lives. The Army Chief General Wakar-uz-Zaman said that he has given shelter to those people, irrespective of their party affiliations, opinion and religion. However, he added that any allegations against those who are under the army's protection will be punished.
Meanwhile, the new interim government under Chief Advisor Muhammad Yunus has cancelled the public holiday on the 15th of August for the national mourning of former President Sheikh Mujibur Rahman.
A statement from the Chief Advisor's office said that the decision was taken after broad consensus with political parties. Various student organizations have also consented to the government's decision in writing.
The gruesome rape and murder of a trainee doctor in India's West Bengal, it's left the entire nation shocked and outraged.
Well, the Kolkata High Court on Tuesday ordered for the probe to be handed over to the Central Bureau of Investigation, that is the CBI, with a deadline of case documents to be transferred set for 10 a.m. and that is today. Following this transfer, the CBI team along with a contingent of forensic scientists will be visiting the site of the crime at the R.G. Kar Medical College later today. During the hearing, the court noted major lapses by the hospital administration. The 31-year-old trainee doctor was found dead in the seminar hall of the medical college with her clothes in disarray and injuries all over her body.
The High Court has also questioned authorities on the delay in recording the statement of the former principal and steps the state government was planning to take to address the concerns of the protesting doctors. Earlier, the authorities released bone-chilling details from the final post-mortem report. Currently, the accused, Sanjay Roy, is in police custody for 14 days.
Demonstrations demanding justice and the safety of female healthcare providers have broken out nationwide, with protests intensifying in Bengal, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Delhi and Maharashtra for the 6th consecutive day. Non-emergency and outpatient department services continue to be affected. The Federation of All India Medical Association, or FIMA, has now decided to continue its nationwide shutdown of OPT services after having a discussion with Resident Doctors Association. The body took to social media to convey that a pan-India meeting of RDAs was held, but the matter remained unresolved. FIMA has also called upon the Home and Health Minister to ensure protection of the healthcare workers.
In Mumbai, the Maharashtra Association of Doctors have announced their decision to continue their ongoing strike until all the demands put forth by the association are fully met and provided in writing. Meanwhile, FODA, or the Federation of the Resident Doctors Association, which earlier called for a nationwide indefinite strike over the incident, has now called off its strike as Union Health Minister J.P. Nadda has accepted their demands.
President of the body, Aviral Mathur, made this statement wherein he highlighted that the Union Health Minister had assured the group that their demands would be addressed in a timely manner. Mathur also added that in the meeting with the minister, it was decided that a committee including representatives from FODA will be formed to oversee issues plaguing Indian medical healthcare workers. In the ongoing Hindenburg saga, the latest is an application made to the Supreme Court requesting that SEBI finish the ongoing investigations into the Adani group of companies.
And this comes after the most recent report by Hindenburg Research, which alleged a conflict of interest involving SEBI chairperson Madhbhai Puri and Vishal Tiwari has submitted the latest plea. Tiwari was the petitioner in the 2023 lawsuits that sought an inquiry by the CBI into the claims made by Hindenburg in January 2023. And back then, Hindenburg had published a scathing report about the Adani Group's alleged stock market manipulation.
Now, the Supreme Court had rejected the request for a CBI SIT probe in January this year, supporting the SEBI's inquiry. Although the court rejected the petitions, it did urge the SEBI to finish the investigations, preferably within 3 months. Now, the SEBI has closed 22 of the 24 investigations and said external agencies' inputs on the remaining 2 inquiries are still awaited. The new application stated that given recent events, it would be wise to set a deadline for the outstanding investigations to be completed.
Tiwari cited Hindenburg's latest allegations on SEBI chief and her husband's involvement with the Adani Group scam. The petitioner also stated that, and I'm quoting here, it becomes incumbent for SEBI to conclude the pending investigations and declare the conclusion of the investigations due to the report's reputation for sowing an atmosphere of doubt. The application argued that it is important in public interest and for the interest of the investors who lost their funds after the publication of the Hindenburg report in 2023 against the Adani Group. The plea also added that the right to know about the investigations led by SEBI and its conclusions are essential for the benefit of the investors. And with that, it's time now for a short break.
Don't go anywhere. This is World DNA. On the other side, we bring you more updates from around the world. Saudi Arabia's rose industry, particularly in the regions of Taif and Medina, is experiencing a significant resurgence thanks to sustainable water management and government support. We are going to be bringing you the complete details on that.
Across India, the spirit of patriotism is surging as the nation gears up for Independence Day with the Har Ghar Tiranga movement. Stay tuned for that on the other side as well.
Namaste. Hello, friends. We did Dr. Subhash Chandra show, popularly known as DSC show, for 4 years, from August 2014 to August 2018. 28 states of Bharat. Of course, we reached out to all of you in 190 countries across the world. The show was very successful. Each episode was being watched by almost 25 million people every week. For past 6 years, the demand of the show has never died down. People write to us, people ask for the show to restart again. Hence, we are beginning the show once again on All Z Network, also on WION, which is the global network channel from India. Again, thank you for your love and affection. See you soon at Subhash Chandra Show.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at yoursarthi@such.org.in. Massive turning point in the West Asia conflict. Israel opens Iran war front. Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh killed in Tehran, a targeted attack during a visit to Iran for the new president's inauguration. Nearly 2,000 kilometers away in Beirut, Israel kills a top Hezbollah commander in a targeted strike. West Asia on the boil, war clouds darken, and the threat of a wider conflict grows bigger than ever.
Kenya's President William Ruto swears in his new cabinet secretaries, much to the dissatisfaction of the Gen Zs, who have harnessed the power of social media to fuel wave of protests and political activism against Ruto's 2-year-old administration. From Botswana's Letsile Tebogo, South Sudan's Bright Stars basketballers, and Algeria's legendary boxer Iman Khelif, we highlight the Olympians who broke records and elevated Africa's status at the Paris Olympics 2024. And slap fighting has been gaining traction in South Africa, often drawing crowds. The sport is seen as a positive influence in local communities. That's this week on World of Africa at these times on WION.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, world is one. From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch. WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, world is one.
Welcome back to World DNA. Thank you so much for staying with us. Lots lined up for you on this side of the show. Let's get started.
Amid uncertainty, Anthony Blinken cancels his West Asia visit. Officials in Tehran make big announcement, say Iran will not attack Israel if it manages to reach a long-sought ceasefire deal in Gaza with Hamas when talks resume later this week.
Israel's National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir draws Israeli and international condemnation over calls for Jewish prayer at Jerusalem's Temple Mount.
Vladimir Putin puts Secretary of Russia's State Council and his former security guard Alexei Dumin in charge of the military operation in Kursk region.
A 32-year-old suspect appears in court charged with attempted murder of a young girl in London's Leicester Square in what prosecutors describe as a random attack.
United Auto Workers Union files complaints with the National Labour Relations Board against Donald Trump and Tesla CEO Elon Musk over attempts to threaten and intimidate workers.
Sheikh Hasina issues first statement following August 5th ouster as Bangladesh Prime Minister wants rioters to be punished, seeks justice for vandalism of her father's statue.
Massive disclosure by Bangladesh Army Chief General Wakar-uz-Zaman says they've given shelter to some influential people of the ousted Awami League government as their lives are in danger.
Big update in Kolkata trainee doctor rape and murder case. CBI team comprising medical officers and CFSL experts to leave for Kolkata to begin their probe in the case today.
Paramount Global is set to lay off 15% of its workforce in the United States. The company will also close down its Paramount Television studio as part of a planned restructuring.
Big blow for England men's cricket team. Test captain Ben Stokes will miss rest of the summer after tearing his left hamstring while playing in the 100.
Well, it's that time of the year. Across India, the spirit of patriotism is surging as the nation gears up for Independence Day with the Har Ghar Tiranga movement.
Now, from the bustling streets of Ahmedabad to the serene valleys of Arunachal Pradesh, citizens are uniting to celebrate their love for the nation. In Ahmedabad, the city witnessed a grand spectacle as hundreds of citizens participated in a Tiranga Yatra. The event, flagged off by Union Home Minister Amit Shah, saw a 2,151-foot-long tricolour being carried with pride through the 3-kilometre stretch from Viratnagar to Nikol Khodiyar Temple.
Moving to the northeastern frontier, Arunachal Pradesh Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed his admiration for the Har Ghar Tiranga Yatra held in Separ, East Caming. A 600-foot-long Tiranga was carried by residents, showcasing the state's unwavering commitment to the nation.
In the southern city of Surat, the historical significance of the Tiranga Yatra was highlighted as citizens came together to honour the country's heritage. The event was a vibrant display of unity with people from all walks of life participating, keeping the flame of patriotism burning bright.
Meanwhile, in the northern state of Jammu and Kashmir, Indian Army personnel held a Tiranga Yatra from Colonel Rinchan's memorial to the Hall of Fame in Ladakh's Leh. A remarkable Tiranga rally was also held on the world's highest railway bridge over the Chenab River in Riyasi. The 750-meter-long tricolour fluttered proudly, symbolising the region's strong connection to the national identity. Prime Minister Modi hailed the event as an inspiring demonstration of the region's patriotism. As the Har Ghar Tiranga movement sweeps across the nation, it's clear that the tricolour is not just a symbol of freedom, but a unifying force that binds the diverse cultures and communities of India together.
All right, let's shift our focus now. Sri Lanka has become the first South Asian country to give an approval to Elon Musk's Starlink internet system.
Lankan Telecommunications Authority granted license to Starlink to provide its services in the country. Starlink is a satellite broadband service that is currently active in 37 countries across the globe. The company owns 60% of the total satellites orbiting Earth. That makes it a giant in satellite internet space. Apart from the high internet speed, satellite's internet service provides internet access regardless of location.
Musk approached Sri Lankan authorities in March to set up operations. The way for Starlink's entry in Sri Lanka, was paved after the country's parliament amended a 28-year-old telecommunications bill. Starlink has also expressed interest in launching its services in India. It is awaiting approval from the Ministry of Communications after the final vetting by the Home Ministry over security issues. Now, Saudi Arabia's rose industry, particularly in the regions of Taif and Medina, is experiencing a significant resurgence.
And this is, of course, thanks to the sustainable water management and government support. Two primary varieties, the Taif rose and the Medina rose, are cultivated in the kingdom. The Taif rose blooms in the spring with over 550 million flowers harvested annually. Meanwhile, the Medina rose, with its light pink hue, flourishes year-round. These roses, grown across 270 hectares of land, are nurtured by about 910 farms in regions like Al-Hada and Wadi Muharram.
The annual rose picking season, which typically falls in April and May, is a highly anticipated event. It culminates the renowned Rose Festival, where farmers showcase their products. Central to this flourishing industry is the Ministry of Environment, Water and Agriculture's focus on sustainable practices.
By implementing rainwater harvesting technologies and establishing irrigation networks, the ministry ensures that rose farming remains both productive and environmentally responsible. The impact of these initiatives is evident not only in the increased yields, but also in the local economy. The rose industry is a significant employer, providing numerous job opportunities and also empowering women in the workforce. The blend of tradition and innovation ensures that these cherished flowers will continue to bloom both in the kingdom and beyond. Despite a ban on exporting cash to the country, billions of dollars and euros have found their way into Russia.
Right, our next report reveals how Russia has been circumventing crippling Western sanctions. Take a look.
Despite sanctions imposed by the United Nations and the European Union following Russia's invasion of Ukraine in March 2022, approximately 2.3 billion in US dollars and euros have been shipped to Russia. This revelation comes from customs data obtained by Reuters. The data indicates that Russia has successfully circumvented sanctions by importing cash through countries like the UAE and Turkey, which have maintained trade relations with Russia. While the yuan has replaced the dollar as the most traded currency in Moscow, the dollar and euro remain crucial for trade, travel and savings among Russians. The customs data reveals a significant surge in cash imports to Russia in the months preceding the Ukraine invasion. Between November 2021 and February 2022, 18.9 billion in US dollar and euro banknotes entered the country. In contrast, only $98 million left Russia between February 2022 and the end of 2023. A notable player in these cash imports is Aerotrade, a company offering duty-free shopping services which declared around $1.5 billion in cash shipments. Additionally, Russian banks have been involved in cash-for-gold transactions to circumvent sanctions. The flow of billions in cash to Russia raises concerns about the effectiveness of sanctions. While the Russian government has labelled the dollar and euro as toxic, the continued demand for these currencies highlights their ongoing relevance in the Russian economy. The ability of Russia to bypass sanctions through cash transactions underscores the challenges of enforcing economic restrictions. As the war in Ukraine continues, the implications of this cash influx for Russia's economy and its ability to sustain the conflict warrant further investigation. Business Bureau WION World is One.
Now we look at the 1-2 punch between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris on budget-busting tax proposals.
Trump and Harris are engaging in a tax policy arms race. They are mimicking and outdoing each other's plans to win over important vote blocks in battleground states.
And this comes ahead of an impending fight in Washington to reform the tax system. This contest also exemplifies how the economy plays a crucial role in the November election. Both parties have highlighted economic concerns that will affect American citizens' ability to pay. The back and forth over taxes has escalated in recent days.
Republican vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance attempted to outdo the Democrats by proposing a $5,000 tax credit for each child, and that is $3,000 more than the existing benefit and larger than what President Joe Biden had suggested. A variation of Trump's pledge to exclude tipped salaries from taxes was embraced by Harris. Election year politics is driving the frenzy of proposals. Proposed tax changes can have far-reaching consequences for the budget. An increase to the child tax credit may cost $2 trillion over the next decade. And Trump has also advocated for the complete elimination of taxes on social security benefits. And this comes with a price tag of up to $1.8 trillion. In addition, an extension to the tax cuts from Trump's 2017 package will cost $4.6 trillion. However, the proposals do not take into account that tax cuts would blow up the already record high US debt. All right, next up, let's take a look at what's happening in technology. The Indian government has taken a significant step to combat spam calls and promotional calls. India's telecom watchdog has directed service providers to stop all promotional calls from unregistered telemarketers and blacklist their numbers for up to 2 years. With these new rules, the Indian government is aiming to tackle the surge in spam and phishing calls that have seen people lose millions of rupees. Fake parcel scams are becoming a growing concern in India.
The Indian government has been looking to clamp down on calls where scammers pose as representatives from firms like FedEx and Blue Dart and extract sensitive financial information by sending phishing links in the pretext of retrieving lost packages. The government has made it mandatory for telecom service providers to submit updates on actions taken on scam callers on the 1st and 16th of every month.
As the popular saying goes, your bad day is someone else's good day. Well, and it looks like it is true in the case of Blue Sky. Social media platform Blue Sky is seeing a spike in sign-ups in the UK. A sign that Elon Musk's controversial comments on the nationwide riots is prompting people to look for alternatives to X. Blue Sky has seen a 60% jump in general activity from accounts in the UK, with several members of the parliament also joining the platform.
Musk has been accused of sharing misleading posts about the UK riots, including one post suggesting civil war was inevitable in Britain, prompting a strong reaction from Keir Starmer, UK's Prime Minister. California and South Carolina may soon join the US states in restricting cell phone use in schools. Already 8 states, including Florida, Indiana and Delaware, have banned smartphones in schools. California's Governor Gavin Newsom has been advocating for school districts to limit students' use of smartphones on campus.
These actions reflect a growing movement in states like Utah, Florida and Louisiana to minimize distractions in classrooms and address concerns about the impact of social media on the mental health of children and teens. In a letter addressed to California districts, Newsom emphasized the importance of restricting smartphone use to help students concentrate and protect their well-being.
News now from the world of sport. The England men's cricket team has suffered a huge blow. Test captain Ben Stokes has been ruled out of the rest of the summer after tearing his left hamstring while playing in the 100.
Well, the all-rounder suffered the injury while batting for Northern Superchargers against Manchester Originals at Old Trafford. Stokes was spotted on crutches after the match on Sunday. The 33-year-old will miss England's 3-test series against Sri Lanka, which starts on the 21st of August. Ollie Pope will serve as the captain of the team in Stokes' absence. The 2019 ODI World Cup winner is aiming to be fit in time for England's 3-test tour of Pakistan in October.
Stokes was playing in the 100 for the first time in 3 years this season. He had appeared to have returned to full fitness this summer after recovering from surgery on a left knee injury that had limited his ability to bowl. Stokes opted out of the Indian Premier League and T20 World Cup to assist with his recovery. The all-rounder then led England to a 3-0 series victory over the West Indies. Former England captain and Pandit Nasir Hussain blamed too much cricket for Stokes' injury. He said, and I'm quoting here, "Injuries happen in any sport, professional sport. It could have been a blast game or county championship games. I don't think the format got him injured. There are just too many formats of the game. There's too much pressure on everyone concerned with the game."
The Summer Olympics in the City of Light and Love lived up to its hype. There were several records broken. Many new athletes claimed the world's attention as well.
And the Games had their fair share of controversies as well. Here is a throwback to the 10 moments from the Paris Games. Let's take it from the top. The unique opening ceremony on River Seine received a mixed response. But the torch lighting event turned out to be an absolute spectacle. In one of the most iconic relay sequences, the flame went from Zinedine Zidane to Rafael Nadal and then to Serena Williams, who passed it to Nadia Comaneci.
The relations between North Korea and South Korea are quite frosty, but their athletes shared a heartwarming moment on the podium. The mixed table tennis teams from both the nations posed for a selfie during the medal ceremony, which has gone viral. The Olympic gold medals may not have the same prestige for some tennis players as the Grand Slams, but you would not know it from looking at Novak Djokovic. Well, the Serbian burst into tears after clinching that elusive gold.
A Cuban wrestler made Olympic history and then walked into sunset. Meet Mayan Lopez, who became the first summer Olympian in any individual sport to win 5 consecutive gold medals in the same event. Armand Duplantis won his second straight Olympic gold medal in the pole vault and did so by breaking his own world record. He also broke out the best celebratory poses for the 2024 Olympics so far by mimicking Turkish shooter and viral sensation Yusuf Dikish.
Speaking of viral pictures, there are not many that could top the one that is there on the screen. French photographer Jérôme nailed this shot of Brazilian surfer Gabriel Medina, where it looks like he is defying gravity. The "why do athletes bite their medals" question, of course, might be one that China's Zhou Yaqin is asking. The 18-year-old who won silver wasn't aware of the tradition and was caught off guard on the podium, but she quickly mimicked the gesture and joined in to pose for the cameras to create a wholesome reaction.
China's shuttler He Bingjiao may have failed to clinch the gold in the women's singles final, but she won hearts with a fine display of sportsmanship on the podium. The Chinese held a small badge of the Spanish flag to pay homage to her semi-final opponent Carolina Marin. The Spaniard was forced to retire in tears after suffering an injury against tea. Of course, there had to be a few proposals when you are in the city of love. Chinese badminton player Wang Yuxiang took a gold and a diamond from Paris. Wang was surprised with an engagement ring by her teammate Li Yuxin just after her gold medal match.
American rapper Snoop Dogg has been dubbed as USA's unofficial mascot. He was omnipresent at all the events, from his chic equestrian outfit to the shiny gold suits. Snoop Dogg has been a hit at the Olympics.
All right, here are all the updates from the world of entertainment. Now, Frozen 3 is getting a Thanksgiving release in the year 2027. That's the traditional time when Disney's Frozen franchise releases. The first Frozen opened limited in one theatre for 5 days in 2013. Frozen 2 opened on the Friday before Thanksgiving in 2019. Together, the two movies racked up $2.7 billion.
That's a rough business to be in right now. I mean...
Netflix has unveiled the first trailer of the comedy-drama series Billionaire Island. The series is based on two rival families in Norway. Combined with humor and drama, the series explores their intense rivalry. The show is set to release on the 12th of September.
Amazon Prime Video has unveiled the first trailer of Angry Young Men, the story of Salim Javed. Is all set to be unveiled on the 20th of August. The documentary series unravels the cinematic journey of the golden phase in Hindi cinema, which witnessed the rise of iconic Angry Young Man, mainly Amitabh Bachchan we're talking about here. The documentary contains interviews of Yash, Shabana Azmi, Salman Khan, Farhan Akhtar, Jaya Bachchan and the living legend Amitabh Bachchan himself.
Hollywood superstars Halle Berry and Mark Wahlberg walked the red carpet in Los Angeles for the premiere of their Netflix blockbuster, The Union. More details in this next report, and we are going to leave you here with this one. Thank you so much for tuning in. This was World DNA for you today.
I think you just meet people that you just connect to. It's hard to explain how or why that happens. We go way back to the late 80s and we were both young, coming up in the business. We both have meager beginnings, and I think we appreciate this gift that we've been given, that we get to work, and we've worked all these years on this high level, and I think we connect there, but we also realize when we're working together, we're just regular old crackers, and we love being that together, right? And it, I think, makes for some good energy.
Well, I'm a huge admirer of hers. She is everything she appears to be on screen. She's super accessible, super kind, thoughtful, smart, talented, obviously beautiful, but she commands the attention that she gets on screen and in life, and she's fantastic to work with. She challenges you to raise the bar. She's the most formidable opponent you could ask for, but she's also so sweet. She's great at comedy. I mean, there isn't anything. I'm sick of talking about how wonderful she is.
I'm nobody I can trust.
So what, you guys like the FBI or something?
We work for the union. I think I counted, I think it's about 10 injuries over the years. Yeah, some knockouts, some broken bones, tailbone. Yeah, there's been some injuries.
Yeah, he's dead.
Namaste. Hello, friends. We did Dr. Subhash Chandra show, popularly known as DSC show, for 4 years, from August 2014 to August 2018. 28 states of Bharat. Of course, we reached out to all of you in 190 countries across the world. The show was very successful. Each episode was being watched by almost 25 million people every week. For past 6 years, the demand of the show has never died down. People write to us, people ask for the show to restart again. Hence, we are beginning the show once again on All Z Network, also on WION, which is the global network channel from India. Again, thank you for your love and affection. See you soon at Subhash Chandra Show.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at yoursarthi@such.org.in.
Kenya's President William Ruto swears in his new cabinet secretaries, much to the dissatisfaction of the Gen Zs, who have harnessed the power of social media to fuel wave of protests and political activism against Ruto's 2-year-old administration. From Botswana's Letsile Tebogo, South Sudan's Bright Stars basketballers, and Algeria's legendary boxer Iman Khelif, we highlight the Olympians who broke records and elevated Africa's status at the Paris Olympics 2024. And slap fighting has been gaining traction in South Africa, often drawing crowds. The sport is seen as a positive influence in local communities. That's this week on World of Africa at these times on WION.
Ready to dive into your daily dose of news?
Bringing you what's trending in the West and all that's setting trends in the East.
And all of this served up with a side of insightful banter.
We don't just bring you the latest stories.
We bring you your talking points for the day.
And while you do that, from the busy streets of New York, I will provide you with deeper insights on the developments through the course of the day in the U.S.
And I will be here at the WION headquarters, getting you all the action from the universe of sport. All that you need to know about your favorite teams and players, right here.
The show that keeps you ahead of the global curve. A conversation you'd want to be a part of.
A place where news becomes an engaging exchange.
We bring you stories that impact your present.
This is World DNA.
Join the conversation.
Good morning. Thanks very much for staying with us. You're watching WION World is One with me, Raisha Sehgal. There's lots lined up on the show, but first a quick check on the headlines. Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky claims country now controls 74 settlements in Russia's